Log entry number 42. Every map has its edge, a boundary beyond which lies Terra Incognita, a region where the cartographers of old would draw sea monsters and write, "Here be dragons." But what if our world is the map? An impossibly complex, detailed but finite map. Then Australia is not merely a continent. It is the southernmost edge of the rendered zone, a frontier territory where the simulation becomes unstable, where the render engine begins to falter, and through the textures of our familiar reality, artifacts from older, deleted versions of the world begin to bleed through. Official science calls these anomalies. The native inhabitants call it the dream time. As a cartographer, I call it proof. Proof that we are standing at the very edge of the map. And my expedition into this sector begins today. The first thing one notices in this sector are the architectural anomalies. Objects that should not be here. Pyramids. Near the town of Gympie, there is a structure that official science stubbornly refuses to acknowledge. It is too inconvenient an artifact. Some system-sponsored researchers claim they are merely terraces built by a Swiss gardener in the 19th century. Others, attempting to explain the anomaly in any way possible, speak of ancient Egyptians or Incas who accidentally sailed to the wrong place. All of these are merely attempts by the system to write patch notes for an obvious bug. It is like finding an object from an old, deleted location in a modern video game. The developers panic and write in the update description, "This is not a bug, it's a feature. It was always meant to be there." But the fact remains. The structure is here, and it is not alone. And it fits into no official timeline. This is not the legacy of a gardener. This is a legacy asset. A file left over from a previous global version of the world, which the system simply forgot to delete when installing the current patch. And this sector is littered with hundreds of such files. The native inhabitants of this sector, the Aborigines, are not just tribes. They are the beta testers who have been in this simulation since its earliest versions. Their legends are not fairy tales. They are an archive of error reports, bug reports, passed down from one generation to the next. One such record is particularly interesting. It tells the story of a man who, after death, was carried up to the sky by a giant white eucalyptus tree. The legend describes a deafening sound, fiery eyes at the base of the tree, and its rapid ascent southward toward the Milky Way, where the sky gods live. Let us translate this report from the language of myth into the language of system analysis. The giant eucalyptus with fiery eyes at its base is a transport module with a poor camouflage texture. The deafening sound is the noise of its engines. The sky gods are system administrators or game masters. And the entire incident is not a miracle, but an emergency evacuation of a unit from the simulation zone. Perhaps that man was an important NPC whose death caused a critical error, and the administrators had to intervene directly. This legend is not just a myth. It is a detailed description of an interaction with those who exist outside of our map, with the developers. And the fact that this happened here, at the edge of the world, only confirms the hypothesis. Any frontier zone in a simulation is teeming with cryptids, creatures that were never fully coded or were left over from previous versions. They are unused NPCs, wandering the edge of the map, sometimes accidentally crossing paths with the players. The coast of Australia is one such place. Witnesses regularly report strange sea creatures resembling plesiosaurs, a long neck, a small head. When photographs hit the network, an official explanation from the system moderators, the marine biologists, immediately appears. It's a piece of a boat. It's a tree branch. It's a rare deep-sea fish that we've never seen ourselves, but we know for certain that's what it is. This is the system attempting to correct a rendering error in real time. When an unidentified object appears on the screen, the system panics and tries to assign it the nearest available texture and description. A piece of a boat is the laziest, fastest solution. But the number of such pieces of a boat and tree branches exceeds all reasonable limits. This sector is simply teeming with life that is not listed in the official database. These are either beta versions of creatures that didn't make it into the final release, or fauna from a previous, more ancient patch that were never cleared from the system's cache.
Sometimes, developers leave hidden marks on the map, Easter eggs, or debug markers that they forget to remove before the final release. The geoglyph known as the Maori Man is one such marker, a gigantic figure of a hunter, over 4 kilometers tall. It can only be seen in its entirety from a height of 10 kilometers. Official science helplessly throws up its hands. We do not know who created this or how. They speculate that to create such a figure would require a bulldozer to travel 400 kilometers. And this is the key detail. They are trying to explain the action of a landscape editor tool with the mechanics of a bulldozer. They cannot entertain the thought that this drawing was not etched from within the simulation, but from without, by someone with access to the development tools. The Maori Man is not the art of ancient tribes. It is either the signature of the artist who worked on this sector of the map, or a debug marker indicating a key coordinate. Its incredible precision and scale are direct proof that we are not looking at a human creation, but at the work of the developers themselves. The expedition is coming to an end. The journal is filled with observations, pyramids as artifacts of old versions, legends as system error reports, cryptids as unused NPCs, geoglyphs as developer marks. The picture is becoming clear. Australia is not just a continent. It is a sandbox, a debug server where the developers tested mechanics, objects, and creatures that were later either altered or cut entirely from the final version of the world. It is a land of bugs, unpatched glitches, and legacy code. Here at the southern edge of the world, the render distance of our reality is at its minimum. The fog of war is thick. And if one were to go even further south, toward the great ice barrier they call Antarctica, perhaps there, one could do more than just see the edge of the map. Perhaps there, one could clip right through the textures. End of line.